And joining us from the band, from Imperial Triumphant, he is their vocalist, their guitarist, and their orchestrationist. I hope I said that word right. Please welcome to Pulse of the Maggots, Zachary Ezrin. How you doing, my friend? Welcome.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. So it's only been a couple of days, but we'll ease you into the interview real quick. Now that the album is out and into the world and people are listening to it, reacting to it, and absorbing it, how are you feeling at this point in time, my friend?
Feels great. Everyone's really positive on the record, so it's really exciting to receive that kind of feedback.
Have you noticed a difference at all this album cycle versus last one, given that the last one came like smack dab in the middle of the pandemic? Or is it all business as usual this time around?
Well, yeah, now we can say in interviews like, hey, catch us on tour in the next month in Europe and then the month after in North America. So that part's really great.
Fuck yeah. And we'll talk about the Zeal and Ardor and Sylvain tour here in just a little bit. So when you went into this album, Imperial Triumphant has always been a band with lofty ambitions, a clear vision of what it wants to do, and also part of that, an experimentation of no idea what you guys want to do, but somewhere where you guys want to go, I guess. What was the goal when you first started writing for Spirit of Ecstasy, and how might that have been different or not than Alphaville?
Honestly, is not that different. It was just like, let's start writing the next one since we can't go on the road. And yeah, it was really just everything came super organically. Like whenever we write, it's always such is the case.
Oh yeah, and Cori, I know that you had a question that you wanted to jump in on
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
definitely. So the thing that stood out to me the most about this album is the different guest artists and the different collaborations that you did on this, because they're all very unique. I mean, Voivod to Kenny G, it's like there's some disparity there, but it all works so well. And you said that everything kind of comes together organically. And in previous interviews and previously talking about your music, you say you're very inspired by, just the nature of the city and all of that stuff. What really inspired you to work with these specific artists, and how did that all come together?
Great question, Cori.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's always organic. So any guest that we get is usually a friend of ours, or there's one degree of separation. So, and no matter how famous they are or how unfamous they are, the role that they have to play is to benefit the music, and it's not just about putting their name on the album. So I think, when we're composing, we'll be thinking, oh, you know what, this would be a really cool section for maybe this instrumentation or this sort of vocals. And then we'll think, who do we know, or who do we know who knows someone that could fill that role? And that's one of the reasons why I feel like people have been saying the guest slots don't feel kind of forced, or they feel like they don't take away from the music or anything like that, which we're very grateful that everyone that we work with kind of understands our vision and really, there's no like conflict or anything. Anytime we ask someone to do something, they just deliver a masterpiece every time.
That's awesome. And yeah, they don't feel forced. They feel unique, but that's like the name of the game with Imperial Triumphant. It's going to feel unique no matter what. But yeah, they definitely don't feel forced. It's one of those moments where it's like when I saw Kenny G on this last song, I was like, okay, I know this is going to work. I don't know how this is going to work, but I know this is going to work once I actually push play. And I think that that's one of the highlights of your music is it's a journey that you don't know how it's working, but it is working.
Thank you.
Yeah. And John, I know you had a follow-up to that.
I do have a follow-up. It's kind of like a two-pronged question. One is, I know that you mentioned that there is you personally know the people, or there's like one degree of separation removed. Is there now, given that these collaborations have been happening for many, many years now, is there now a wait list to get in to be a guest musician with Imperial Triumphant?
Precisely, yeah. It's a very long wait list, and there's like a lot of huge names. Bruce Springsteen keeps calling me, but you gotta wait your turn, man.
Yeah, give the boss some time, right? New York is your guys' city, not his. So, but like in that too, there's kind of a cheeky question, but also like, is there anyone that you've been wanting to work with for a little while that you want to get on a record at some point?
Not that anyone like we've been trying for a long time and it's not worked out, but lately, as of the last few months, we've been talking, and like the real dream, I think, would be to get Herbie Hancock.
Fuck yeah.
I think that's, like, because that's another guy that, like, if we sent him the music, there would be very little explanation, and he would just go, knowing his, all the discography that he's done, he would just knock it out of the park 100%. I'm sure.
I absolutely love that. Just like completely, like not a name that I would think that would come up ever. Like I would never have come up with Herbie Hancock in a million years, but like it makes sense.
Well, he would fit in perfectly.
Yeah.
I would just say, do what you did on Headhunters, and we'll call it a day. But we'll see. I don't know anyone who knows him, so maybe the KNOTFEST Pulse of the Maggots interview.
I hope so. We'll check all those screen names right there and see which of those is Herbie Hancock's burner account. Cori also mentioned this as well, and this has been a theme obviously over the last 3 records, and something that now this band is like equally tied to, which is your inspiration and the influence of New York City in your guys' music, right? I mean, it's your hometown. I know that both lyrically, sonically, visually, y'all are very inspired by the city, whether that's sounds that you hear or buildings or imagery that you guys see. My question, and this probably doesn't have like a right answer or maybe even a full answer at this point, but do you guys feel that now you guys are like intertwined with New York City, and is that, I guess, the next frontier for you guys to explore? Is that something that you guys are going to have an endless well of inspiration from, or do you feel like you could do something not related to New York City and still be Imperial Triumphant?
Oh, we could definitely do something not related to New York City and still be Imperial Triumphant for sure. I think the whole New York concept just comes from it basically just stems from us trying to write what we know and stay true to who we are and stay true to ourselves. And, we didn't grow up in like a Norwegian fjord. So like singing about, nature or Vikings or Norse shit, like that would make no sense to us, be inauthentic.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I was just thinking, like, what do I know? And I was like, I do know New York pretty well. I've never left here. So basically I just looked at like, where's the inspiration? And then things just start to open up. And I think visually with the Art Deco, which is so prevalent in New York City, that I think added a really strong influence that help us set ourselves apart in the metal world, because it's very uncommon and it's pretty metal.
Yeah,
so that works for us. And again, it's all about staying true to who you are. And Art Deco is very New York, so it works.
Yeah, and I mean, it works through the guys or your guys' album covers, your videos, and everything like that. Cori, I want you to jump in here with the question as well.
Actually, you just led into my question, because I would actually love to touch on a little bit of your inspiration and how the last video, the one that we just watched, came together. We were talking about it a little bit in the green room, about how it was mildly budget driven, but every time I watch that video, you see something new going on, like off in the corner, or just some I would love to know how that one in particular really came together, and if it really is, like John and I theorize, your guys' secret speakeasy of nefarious jazz and
well, no, it's not our speakeasy, but it's an exact replica of it that we
okay.
No, that video just came from the idea of like, we had just finished shooting Maximus Scream music video in Los Angeles, and that was a huge 2-day production with so many scenes and characters and stuff, and I was just feeling kind of burned out because we produce and direct and edit all these videos ourselves. So I was just thinking, what's a simple idea we could do? And then reaching into our, bag of inspiration that we always, grew up with, is like Stanley Kubrick and his, genius. And
You
so,
called it, John.
Yeah, it's so Kubrick.
yeah, thinking about like the opening scenes of A Clockwork Orange, or Barry Lyndon, obviously his huge fucking, I don't know if I can curse on this.
Oh yeah, you can.
Great. It's got huge fucking inspiration there. And then like, everything within that. And so we're just thinking like, let's just do a maximalist shot, like one shot pulling out. We'll put it in slow motion and we'll just fill it with a ton of things so that, conceptually, the idea is, how do you make a music video that's one shot, that's not boring and keeps people interested? And the idea of like slowly revealing different characters and different worlds and making it, like you said, Cori, every time you watch it, there's something, you notice something different. It kind of plays into a lot of what we do as a band, which is like every time you listen to our music, you hear new instrumentation, new rhythms, new sounds buried in the mix. And that kind of is a huge part of what we try to do, and create a really strong listening, like revalue. What's the word? Re-listening value or something like that, where you want to just go back and explore a little deeper. It's almost like an active experience with our music, I'd say.
And I think we both got that 100%. What I also thought was interesting too is you mentioned it was in slow motion, but it's almost so close to you guys, playing the actual riffs and the drum fills and everything like that, but it's off just so slightly that it, for me at least, when I watch that video, it gives me that extra layer of anxiety that your music has the undertones of in general, like New York City and everything like that. So one of those things that just each of those little elements, right, blends into that. And yeah, I thought Kubrick 100% all the way.
Yeah. Kubrick's the man.
Cori, do you have your one question left, or do we have time to get into the tour real quick?
You can get into the tour. I will save my question.
Okay, fantastic. So we mentioned it at the top of the interview, Zach. You guys are going to be going on tour with Sylvaine and Zeal Ardor here in a couple of months through North America. What are your thoughts? What are you excited about? And why should people come to experience Imperial Triumphant live?
That's going to be a wild tour. And I strongly recommend anyone who's thinking about buying a ticket to just get it right now.
Yeah.
Because not only is it a great lineup, it's a super diverse lineup. Sylvaine's interesting, Zeal Ardor, wild band. But also, you're going to catch Imperial Triumphant after a month of touring in Europe. So we're going to be unbelievable at this point. Right now, still like tightening the screws and everything. I just came from rehearsal, but by the time we touch down back into America and start playing, it's going to be like breathing air. Like we're not even going to be. It would be so tour tight. And what a lot of people do say is that the live show is more intense than the album. And I've heard this from fans many times, which is they say like, I didn't really get it, and then I saw you live and it clicked. And that's something I'm starting to understand is very important for people, is like, people are drawn into our world, but they maybe it doesn't work for them or doesn't click for them yet. Mm-hmm. And then, like one day it'll just hit and they go, I get it. And sometimes all that it takes is like one live show. And I get it, this is very extreme and demanding music. It's not easy by even death metal standards. So I commend people's patience and desire to want to like this music, because it is, I will say, extremely rewarding once you do get into it.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it's like New York in a lot of ways too, right? Because it can be a challenging environment that people have their opinions on, but then when they experience it themselves, then maybe that changes their mind or puts it in a different experience, Yeah,
it's like people that are like, oh man, when I graduate college, I want to move to New York for a little bit. And then you're like, oh fuck, I'm here. It's kind of intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only been to New York once, and I got horrifically lost because I am from a town of 7,000 people.
Where are you from?
I'm from a small town in Oregon, south of Portland. And so
What's it called?
Staten is what it's called. It's just like 13 miles east of the capital of Salem and about an hour south of Portland. But yeah, I've only been to New York once, and I got just horrifically lost. Just absolutely it was so bad. I was lost all day. I ended up making it back, but then I realized I'm like, I cannot navigate in a city. Put me in the woods, I can navigate just fine. Put me in the city, I can't.
But it's a grid.
I don't understand the grid, apparently.
It's just squares.
Cori's talking about forests and trees because she is really that like first wave of black metal girl at heart.
Maybe a little.
Well, no, she's right. Like that whole area of the country has some unbelievable natural forests and stuff. We did a drive.
Oh yeah,
up.
a lot of people disappear out here because they get lost in the woods, but I don't.
Yeah, some people, I guess. Yeah, that would be me getting lost in the forest.
So hopefully none of y'all do that. Zeal and Ardor, Sylvain, Imperial Triumphant are going to be going on tour later this year. Grab your ticket for that one. I will try and see you in Denver. I need to get my flight all booked from that because you guys aren't coming close to Nashville, and I am absolutely not missing that tour. Cori, do you want to ask the most important question of the day that Zach, actually of the week that Zachary is going to answer?
Honestly, probably the most important question that he has ever been asked in his entire life. All right, this is a defining question. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh man, well, it's a bit tricky because I just found out my favorite dinosaur is not a dinosaur anymore. But
that can happen.
There's this one Dimetrodon from the Jurassic period, no, Cretaceous period. Really liked it. Always thought it was cool, and then I was like, let me check up on it, and like the most recent discovery was like, yeah, it's not a dinosaur.
How is that possible? It looks like a dinosaur. I just Googled it because I had never heard of it. It's got
first like Pluto is being taken from us, Cori, and now dinosaurs are being ripped from us. Yeah. Like there's nothing sacred anymore.
Cats and dogs living together. It's just madness. You know what? It's a dinosaur because I say it's a dinosaur, and I'm the authority on dinosaurs.
Well, also it's extinct, so it might as well be a dinosaur.
Exactly. If it's extinct, it's a dinosaur.
So yeah, it's not here to defend itself.
Yeah, I'm not hurting anyone if I say, yeah, my favorite dinosaur is Dimetrodon.
It is a cool looking dinosaur. It's got a fin and everything.
Weird, super weird.
It is weird, but neat. We've never gotten that one. You are the only one to ever pick that particular species of whatever creature this is.
I grew up wanting to be like a paleontologist, like going hard on the dinosaur hang, and I grew up not too far from Natural History Museum in New York, and spent a lot of time there as a kid because they have a pretty cool dinosaur installation and such.
That's awesome.
Fuck yeah. Well, there you go, everybody. Pulse of the Maggots first. The question never fails to entertain. Zachary, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for discussing your music and the new album. And congratulations on another stellar release, my friend.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Zachary Ezrin from Imperial Triumphant, everybody. Spirit of Ecstasy is out now through Central Media Records. Mazza has the link for that as well. They put their link tree up there so you can get their albums, their tour, their merch, all of it. Go fill up your carts right now. My friend, you can just close out whenever you're ready to go. Once again, thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
see
absolutely.
You in Portland.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Ciao.